Speechless.
And now, from the studios in Wall Township, New Jersey, this is Moron Sports Radio.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Moron Sports Radio. I'm sorry we're not on our usual Friday time. We're here on Tuesday, but that is because we had such an eventful weekend this weekend in the NFL. Some great wildcard games. We're here to talk about those games only. We'll be talking about upcoming games on Friday's show, but today we just have to go over the games that happened. We'll start out with the very first, and that was the Texans against the Bengals, and that turned out to be a bit more lopsided than you would think. It was 31-10. Houston took the cake. Arian Foster, over 150 rushing yards, ran right through the Bengals defense. Yates did not have a good game. We didn't really expect him to do anything, but Arian Foster, the main story of this, I think, was him.
I also think the main story was that
Dalton
folded under the
rushing
pressure.
25 times, getting the ball almost. I think Foster was handling the ball 40% of the plays were thrown to. So they're pretty much relying on him right now to carry their team.
Do you think it'll work out but we can ask that. Do you think it'll work out in the next game that they're going to play, which is going to be against the Ravens?
Not a chance. The Ravens have such a great rush defense. They're going to need to get Andre Johnson involved in order to come close to keeping up with Ravens defense.
All right, well, we'll save that for our next show. But, guys, I want to talk about the Bengals season because they actually had a pretty successful season. The way you look at it, they had a very good season in a tough division, playing against the Steelers and the Ravens. I think their season was a success and a step in the right direction.
I agree 100%. I mean, I thought nothing was going to happen this year. They drafted Andy Dalton second round, I believe.
Exactly.
They drafted A.J. Green in the first round. I'm like, okay, so it'll take a few years. They'll build. They'll get better. Andy Dalton leads them to a 9-6 record. Everybody on their defense shocked everybody. Nobody knew they were as good as they were. And I mean, a 9-6 season from a team I expected to go around 5-11. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Jacob on this one. I definitely didn't think that the Bengals would be even close to this good. Even making the playoffs, I didn't even have that picture in my mind. But Andy Dalton really showed a lot of people, his talents, and he showed that he's going to be a starting NFL quarterback for the rest of his career. And yeah,
I think the Bengals definitely took a step in the right direction, but bottom line is they beat one team over a 500 record this year. So, I mean, they're a mediocre team, in my opinion. They're not above average.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah,
but I think Andy Dalton is only going to get better, and I think A.J. Green is only going to get better.
Well, yeah, but then you also have to take a look around and go to the Jets and see, well, we all thought Sanchez was going to get better, and he's gotten worse. So it's impossible to know what's actually going to happen to Andy Dalton. In my opinion.
Very true.
Let's move on to the next game. It was the Saints and the Lions in the Superdome. That stadium was loud, guys. That game, I can only imagine being there. That was probably one of the loudest I've ever heard a stadium on TV. That place was rocking, and they gave the Saints the home field advantage. 45-28, they took the win. Drew Brees played an exceptional game. Calvin Johnson had a very good game, too. 200 yards.
211 yards.
Thanks, Noah.
Come on, Noah. All right, so Calvin Johnson had a great game, but obviously, they couldn't outplay the Saints' defense in the Superdome because when they are at home in New Orleans, they score 40 points a game easy every time. Every time. They are unbeatable at home. That's what I think.
Yeah, and, when the Lions were winning and playing that great football in the first and second quarter, I really thought, okay, you know what, this might be the day that the Saints go down. Obviously, it wasn't. The Saints absolutely owned in the second half, outscoring the Lions by a hefty margin. And it was the Saints that, as you said, Ronick, they can't be beaten at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. They are so good at home when their home crowd is behind them. Drew Brees knows how to play under pressure. In my mind, he's the runner-up to Aaron Rodgers.
He is the MVP.
He is the MVP.
No, I disagree.
All right, we'll debate this right now.
Yeah, we can do that.
MVP picks. Jacob, you go.
Jake, your MVP?
MVP, 100% Drew Brees. Breaks the
Thank you.
record for... He broke the record for passing yards in a single season. I understand 3 quarterbacks also went over 5,000. Let me make it known Aaron Rodgers was not one of them. Only 4 quarterbacks have ever gone over 5,000. 3 were this year. Aaron Rodgers sat the last game. That was his choice.
Manning was very close also, 4,900.
Exactly. And So
stat.
Rodgers was not even in was fifth, I believe, in passing yards.
4,600 yards.
Yeah,
I believe.
fifth or sixth in passing yards. Yes, he led his team to a better season of 14-2, 15-1.
But he did not
15-1.
15-1. He did not go undefeated. So his
He did
record
not go
should
undefeated,
really not
and
mean
a
anything.
quarterback doesn't go undefeated. A team goes undefeated.
Yes, I
And
agree.
that's the whole Tebow thing. That's a different.
All right, we'll
debate.
get to that at the
All
end
right,
of the show.
but
This is
There's no reason that Drew Brees should not be the MVP in this season.
And guys, what also impressed me in this game is that the Saints ran the ball for almost 150 yards.
It was really
wow.
shocking.
If they can run the ball, I don't think they will because they're going to play the
Well,
Niners next game. But if they can make this run a big of a factor as it was in this game, but because it wasn't really that big of a factor in the regular season. But if Pierre Thomas, Sproles, and Ivory all were running well, okay.
And I
have
think
so- they have-
Ingram comes back next week too, I think.
They
Yeah.
have so many offensive weapons with Colston, Breeze, Sproles went 2,000 yards from scrimmage this year. I think setting a record.
Meacham had a good game.
Jimmy
Henderson,
Graham, especially
Jimmy Graham. I mean, there's no shortage of
Fun fact
like
about
a
Jimmy
power
Graham.
here,
Freshman, sophomore, and junior year, he was a starting power forward for the Miami Hurricanes.
and he committed more
Wow.
fouls than points.
Yes, he did.
He's a very physical player. So.
That's why he switched to football.
That's understandable. So, guys, I think in this game, you're going to have to look forward. They're going to play. The Saints are now going to play the Niners. It should be a bit of a challenge.
But
I
Ron,
am.
who's your MVP pick?
We all agreed with Jacob. I said Breeze.
Yeah, see, I only say Rodgers because when you look at MVP, most valuable player in the league, if you take Rodgers out,
And you
how
put
good?
in Matt.
And you put in Matt
Oh
Flynn?
wow!
Back
You just
last
you just
game.
proved
yourself in a
you just
bigger
proved
hole.
their point. No, because here's the thing: because they have even more weapons offensively
Okay,
than
you
the
can't
Saints.
count-
No, they
you can't
don't.
count
No,
on
they
Matt
don't.
No, they
Flynn.
do.
No, they don't.
They have more receivers than the Saints.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, they
do.
don't.
Okay, so if you take him out and you put in any other quarterback, he's going to succeed. Okay.
Who?
The
Oh, the
Packers.
I mean,
they're going to succeed.
if we're going to debate the weapons, I think they're about average on power.
Oh my God. So okay. So you're telling me if Breeze does his job better than anybody in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers has so much to work with, and he's got a better running
But
game.
so does Drew Brees. I mean, it's
Not as much.
he has
Noah's
Sproles he
right.
can
Not as
dump
much.
the ball
Noah's
off to.
right.
Not as much.
I
I'm
think
staying
Brees is the MVP.
Brees
but
is the MVP,
But what's it called? The Saints have as many weapons. Who?
I'm staying on Ronnick's side for this.
Rodgers
I think
has Jennings and Jermichael Finley.
Jordy Nelson,
And okay,
Jordy Nelson.
And
Ryan
how many-
Grant, James Starks,
Ryan Grant and James Starks are
John
not
Kuhn.
Okay.
fullback.
Don't hate on John.
He's a
Kuhn.
fullback.
All right, but you look at those guys. I think he's even got a better running game. So I mean, he's got more to protect himself with too. He's got a better defense, so his team's going to succeed more often. So if you look at
I
the
think if
team,
you put Breeze on the Packers, he throws for 5,700.
if you
yards.
put
Well,
they'd be. Six,
I'm not saying that they're worse. I'm saying they both have abnormally.
What I'm saying is that if you take out the quarterbacks and you look at two, okay, say you're a free agent quarterback, okay, you're Peyton Manning, okay, and Breeze and Rodgers are injured for the season. So you're looking at the Packers or the Saints. What is your choice? Where do you want to go? I want to go to the Packers because they have more to assure me to give me a winning season. They're the number one seed. They're the best team in the NFL. They have the
agree
most
completely.
weapons in the
You
NFL.
really can't go wrong with either team. in
I know
my opinion.
that's true, but I mean, if you go,
the Saints,
if you're gonna pick one, you're gonna pick one.
the
If you
Saints
have
lost.
to choose one, what do you say?
You're gonna pick one. What are you gonna pick? Better
It's a tough
defense.
decision. I'd probably. I mean,
That's not a tough
to
decision.
defend my point, I'd pick the Saints. But
No,
But in
no,
reality, I
no.
picked the
Aaron
Packers.
Rodgers is no doubt the MVP, guys.
all right, the other thing about Rodgers is he only threw 6 interceptions this season, and his passer rating was about 20 points higher than
Yes,
Breeze's.
yards aren't all that matter.
And let me make
And
this
I feel
clear.
like that's what
Let
you're
me make this
saying.
clear.
Touchdowns matter.
Let me make this clear. The media is going to vote in the favor of Tyler because of the season that
Exactly.
Rodgers had. I'm not saying that I
Wow.
think Breeze is going to be the MVP. I'm saying Breeze should be the MVP. I don't know if Ron.
Yeah, if I had a vote,
I'm saying-
I'd vote Drew Brees.
I mean, you
so.
put Drew Brees in any other season in the last 10 years, and I'd say no doubt he gets MVP. It's just you have such two great competitors playing so well in the same season.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next game. It was the Falcons and the
That was a
Giants.
good debate. That was good. I like that.
It was pretty good. Yeah. So Falcons Giants 24-2. The Giants totally just destroyed and didn't even let up a point on
24
defense.
unanswered points.
I don't think there's much to talk about here. The Giants played fantastic football. I think if you do have anything to talk about, the Giants' running game, which is formerly the worst in the NFL, came up really big in this game, especially Brandon Jacobs. Brandon Jacobs had a fantastic game. He was playing physical football. He was getting past the line. He found holes. And whenever he got into wide open space, it was impossible to get him down. So I think if the Giants have this running game, and they can use it to their advantage against the Packers because the Packers, as we know, are not a blisteringly good running defense.
Yeah.
So if they can get that, it will help Eli that much more.
Especially if they can keep the Packers off the clock.
Exactly.
And Rodgers off the clock.
The more time you take off that clock and the less time you give that potent offense the ball. So I think they have a good chance
I
to
think
make
you
this a
could
close
say
game.
that this Giants team is just as good as the one in 2008.
I don't
Okay,
think-
you could say that.
I think
You could
say that.
the game can go either way because the Giants can play one when they want to, and we've learned that from
Their
this season.
their
And
defense,
but the only thing about them is they very rarely want to.
Exactly.
they gotta want it.
But-
And I've seen games where the Giants just play awful football, and I am kicking myself over
Yeah.
some of these games because they have a great defense. They have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL.
Yeah, I have to give
Okay.
Tyler props for
I'm not
that
gonna deny
that
that.
call last week when he said OC and.
He said 6
And-
sacks. Okay, he was wrong.
But
he said
they
6
played
sacks.
a fantastic game.
They did, but
online.
he said 6 sacks. He was wrong.
he was wrong. But I'm
It was
just
3.
saying
It was like 3.
they played a great game.
They did play a great game. They played a great game on defense, and to be honest with you, the Falcons' defense did not play that bad. They did not. They just
Well,
weren't given any opportunities on offense.
Brent Grimes was
Don
injured.
Abraham.
Their starting cornerback. So I mean, I would contribute some of the long passes, especially to Hakeem Nicks, due to the absence of Brent Grimes. We're
Yes.
not.
Well, the
we're not-
one to Hakeem Nicks, it wasn't necessarily a long pass, just a lot of
It was
yards
missed-
after catch.
missed tackles.
Missed tackle in midfield. That was it. So, and the longest pass I think was the Manningham touchdown. So
No, it was the Hakeem Nicks.
well, like actual pass. Yeah. So I think that was long. It was a fantastic game. Manningham had a
I
good
would
game
agree.
too.
Yeah,
All of them are having good games. And surprisingly, Cruz had the worst game out of all the receivers.
yeah. I mean,
I really don't think he's that amazing. I really think he's had a bit. I don't know how to word it.
He's
but
been their
a
best
better
receiver.
he's the
season
best
than
slot
he
receiver
is.
in the NFL.
He's the best slot receiver in the NFL.
and he's very
You can't
nimble
say
on
that
his
after one
feet.
season. I stand by. I don't think
Right
you can.
now,
Right now,
okay?
yeah, you can say that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I say I don't think in the future if he ever moves out of the slot.
Oh
or,
yeah. You know what? Yeah.
I just don't think I think he's completely overrated.
You
He's
know
a good
I
fit
really
in New
do.
York with
You-
Knicks as the number one.
You know-
or Cruz is the. I mean, who's the number one now? Knicks or Cruz?
It's Knicks. Knicks is the number one.
Knicks is and will be the number
Yeah,
one.
Knicks
for
is
the
their
next
Knicks
5
is their
years.
best receiver. He is their best receiver.
And he got Cruz to back him up. Last year, it was just Knicks by himself.
Yeah,
so.
he reminds me of Steve Smith. I think he gets longer.
Which
Okay, the one who now plays for the Eagles. He used to play
Okay.
for the Giants
Okay.
in Super Bowl
I
season.
didn't know.
He reminds me of that one. I mean, he was a very good slot receiver.
he was a very good slot receiver.
So I
he's
think-
almost like a Michael Wallace kind of guy. You know,
Oh,
he's got
yes.
that
yeah,
speed.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think Mike Wallace should be number one receiver.
He can break tackles also.
Mike
He's
Wallace
very quick.
is not a number one receiver.
He has
So,
very quick reactions when.
Yeah, Steve Smith was very good.
Speaking of Michael Wallace,
Do you
let's
want?
go to that game.
Okay, so Steelers and Broncos in a thriller. What a game! The Steelers were down big. They tied it up. Big Ben tied it up at the last minute. They weren't able to get the win, and the final was 29-23 in overtime. As after the first play in overtime, we got a nice long touchdown. Demarius Thompson, 80 yards pass from Tim Tebow.
Stiff arm on.
I feel like we all
Mike
have our
Harden.
own individual things to say about Tebow.
Yes.
And they're going to clash with everybody else.
They will.
All right,
So
let's.
I'm going to say
stay-
we
you
go
go
in a
first.
circle. Ronick, let's hear your Tebow
Okay,
talk.
my Tebow thing. I made this very clear that I am after this game, after the way that he handles the hate that comes to him from everybody in the country, I am a fan of Tim Tebow and the way that he handles that. I might not be a fan of the way he plays football because let's face it, he is throwing 48% every game. He did not have the best game. He did play well, okay? He played well to lead his team.
I mean,
and you
Ronick,
can't deny that.
Is 320 yards and 60 yards rushing.
316 yards.
316 yards. Is that a bad game?
It's not a bad. He didn't play well. I'm going to tell you this right now. He didn't play that well.
He played very...
48%. Okay.
I think he played well. I think Willis McGahee almost blew the game a couple of times.
All right, can
Yes, that's right.
let's
okay,
go
he
over to
did
me
well.
for my Tebow talk.
Go ahead.
Tebow is... I'm going to agree with what you said last. He did not have a good game. And people thought he had a great game.
He didn't.
I know.
Exactly.
People are saying,
Very
like,
good.
oh my gosh, can you believe what Tebow just did?
But
in reality, that's not the situation. The situation is, can you believe Demaryius Thomas just made that stiff arm?
Mm-hmm.
Demaryius Thomas had 108 yards after catch. Yards after catch is good for a wide receiver stats, but it hurts,
It hurts
a
the
quarterback
Yeah,
stat.
it hurts their.
If you actually look at how far Tebow totaled through that ball, yes, he had that amazing touchdown pass to, I don't remember who caught the first one.
What's his name?
Was it Eddie Royal?
Yeah, it was Eddie
Yeah, it was
Royal.
Eddie Royal. So that was an unbelievable pass. He put it in one. There was one spot he could put it in, and he put it in that spot. Then you look at that 3rd and 14 the Broncos had with 1.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he's got a wide open receiver running across the middle of the field.
Oh, he's
and
he's on the
left by 5 yards.
He was running the opposite way.
I remember that. Yeah.
He underthrew him by 5 yards. There's
Yeah,
no,
come on. No, that wasn't a good throw.
He's running
was
towards the
still
left of the
not-
sideline.
not.
The guy's coming over from the right.
Okay, Noah, you're gonna go. You're gonna tell me that
I'm not.
he had-
I'm not saying that Tim Tebow is a good quarterback.
No, did he have a solid passing game?
And don't bring that winner thing up. Do not.
No,
yeah.
no, I'm not.
All right,
I'm
did
saying,
he have a solid passing game in your eyes? A game comparable to the one that Breeze or Stafford had?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
For Tim Tebow, in the way he's played this
I
season,
agree. Okay, and what Noah's about to say,
But-
I know what he's going to say.
has Tim Tebow progressed from the first week he started to
Yes.
now?
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that. And
Tremendously.
that is what I admire. I don't admire the fact that he is getting all this attention
I
for the
admire
whole.
that as well.
Ronick, you know what I admire?
What?
The fact.
Commercial.
Oh,
that
don't
we are
no!
going to
I was
go
right in the
to
middle of it.
A break.
Oh, come on.
I know you hate me. I know. But you are listening to Moron Sports on
Hey, I'm Johnny Vegas from the Mighty Mighty Boston.
Whoa. Okay, now you're listening to WCHS Moron Sports Radio, streaming live on the internet 24/7. Be sure to check out our blog. It's moronsports.wordpress.com. Everybody check it out. And you're listening to WCHS. We'll be right back with more morons.
Here to encourage you to support Here and the good work that they do. You can contact them on at HearNet on the World Wide Web, HearNet.com. And very important that you protect your hearing. It's just as important as any other medical aspect of your body. But we, the Boston's, mostly uses these foam earplugs. I have my hearing checked out because we've been doing this for a while and we're pretty loud. And my doctor says that they're just as good as any of the custom-made earplugs that you can have, so they're very effective. So support Here and good luck to you.
Words with Friends, bringing you the news you need to know every morning.
No, I'm high as fuck and I forgot one. Keep that in there.
Welcome back to WCHS. This is Moron Sports, streaming live on Channel 63 throughout school and on the internet 24/7 right here on WCHS. My name is Tyler Paley. I'm in the Moron Sports gang, and we are going to send it back into Ronick Nair and Noah Gorstein, who sit standing by in the studio. They'll bring it back to Tim Tebow. Guys, take it away.
All right, guys.
I was in the middle of talking.
I was in the middle of talking.
No, he interrupted me.
I was.
Yeah, it was Ronick.
Okay, so I was in the middle of talking. I was talking about Tebow, how he has progressed through the season to become a playoff winning quarterback. May not be Tom Brady or Drew Brees, but he's playing well. And I admire the fact that he is able to rise above all this hate that he gets from the media, from guys like us who common guys who are maybe jealous of him, maybe just don't like the fact that he's getting all this publicity for stuff like Tebow 316, all that stuff. We don't like that. I don't like it either. I like the fact that he is able to rise above it, play his game. He may not be the best quarterback, but he still does what he can. So I like that.
I like the way it sounds stupid, but he has such an exciting way of playing the game with running and pitches, and it's almost like college football in the NFL.
It is. That's exactly
But
what it is.
especially in the year of the quarterback, they're calling it, with all these 5,000-yard passers and these great quarterbacks. For Tim Tebow to throw for 1,800 yards and lead his team to the playoffs, how can you not like the guy?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, you know what? He's a likable guy.
Who did you guys find yourself rooting for in the game?
I wasn't rooting for anybody.
I found
Did
myself
you
rooting.
in the overtime. You had to
I
find.
didn't root for
You had to
anybody.
root for,
I didn't root for anybody.
Tebow. I was rooting for the underdog.
Honestly, I was just my cousin's from Pittsburgh, so I was just like,
I found myself rooting for the Steelers. I found myself.
Yeah, I
rooting
did
against
too.
Tebow.
I did too.
what do you guys have against
Because
the underdog?
here, let me tell you something. I just don't. I don't think Tebow is an NFL quarterback. Does he have potential? Yes. I really just like a lot of people like him, and I can appreciate that, and I see why. I think the Steelers are more established. I think Ben Roethlisberger is a great quarterback, and I think
All right.
I think
Whoa,
they're just
let
a
me-
great.
can I-
I think they're a great team to have in the playoffs.
I'm just gonna go with. I think I'm more of a fan of a traditional NFL team.
Yeah.
I never liked the Wildcat. I didn't like when any team has done it. I don't think it's an effective form of offense. I'm not a huge fan of trick plays. I like
So
I don't
you-
like when
And
a quarterback
I'm gonna
runs.
say
good
that-
old-fashioned football.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I guess that's why I don't like Chico.
All right, but okay.
Yeah, I agree.
We got to do two things now. I got to tell you that the game changes. It's
I agree.
going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
change. So I mean, you're not going to get the old-fashioned hard throwing
But
60-yard
31 out of
pass,
32 teams are doing it right now.
but it's going to change.
But what's
no,
it
it's
called?
not.
That's
But
why. Because
throughout the next 150
it
years
used
of
to be.
NFL football,
it used to be 32 out of 32 teams were doing it. Now you got one guy who's doing something different. Could it catch on? Yes. It won't. It might not catch on. It might not catch on. Who cares? It's new. That's why people hate it or love it. I'm neutral.
What
You know
he does,
I'm just a fan of the fact that he is. You heard my opinion. I'm a fan of his success. Okay.
what he does with these trick plays is no defense knows how to play Tim Tebow because
exactly, and they will next year.
Okay.
I
And I'm
mean,
gonna stand by
you can
that.
see
Okay.
if they figure out, but John Elway told Tebow to pull the trigger. And I'm not saying that those yards after catch or whatever, but he hit passers.
Okay,
And
guys.
I
But
just want to see. I want to
he
see.
missed more passes than he hit.
But look what happened when he does complete the passes.
Yeah, the wide receivers run fast. He
So
does
you know what? If he does that every game,
no.
then-
If the wide receivers do that,
All
every
right.
game.
Okay.
but if he has to hit them first,
Football is about scoring. It doesn't matter how you
No,
do
I
it.
could have.
Don't
I
do
could have
that.
made that throw.
Tyler,
Football is about
This is an
scoring.
NFL
You
game,
score the
like
ball. You score.
you have
That's
a heart
it.
condition.
All right,
You
let's not
score-
bring
you
medical
score.
into this.
Yeah, this is getting a little personal. But okay, so one team that couldn't play Tebow's offense was the Steelers, and I for one was completely surprised. It was the biggest upset of the weekend, and it was one of the biggest upsets I've seen in a while because
the year.
I don't think that I was not expecting this, and I was honestly I knew that Roethlisberger was going to come back at the end, but I didn't think that it would be that big of a deficit in the beginning because Roethlisberger, let's face it, he was more hurt than we thought he was. His ankle was bad, and it kept him out almost incapable of making plays in the first
you can
half.
see he had no torque
You
on
can
his
see,
left ankle.
and he was running on pure adrenaline the third and fourth quarter. So I think maybe if they had Mendenhall, would he make a difference? I don't think so because Redmond had a great game. So I don't know what it was about that kept the Steelers from not playing well, but I do know that their defense was not on. So I don't know. Usually their defense so stellar. James Harrison made a couple of low blows, got fined and stuff like that. But I honestly have no answer as to how this happened. I have no answer because Roethlisberger played well at the end. I have no answer.
The only
think
answer I could possibly
Ryan
think
Clark?
of would be maybe they didn't watch enough film.
You never know. Maybe
You
they
never
took.
know.
Maybe they just took the Broncos lightly, which
Because
is possible.
That's
so,
the way to beat the Broncos. You have to watch the film to know
Yeah.
how they function. And in my opinion, they function the same way every single game. And that way is the option and the Tebow scramble. And the only way to stop a Tebow scramble is to keep a guy on the quarterback, which is a risky move every time because
So
you're
then you
losing
leave
a
that
guy on
receiver
a wide
open in the middle.
receiver.
All
Right,
right.
exactly. No.
I was listening to Mike Francesa, okay?
Okay.
And so he brought on Phil Simms, and Phil Simms said, "You know what? I talked to Mike Tomlin after the Week 17 game. He said I talked to him yesterday, and this is the day of the game. He said, do you think it was a mistake to play Roethlisberger and Mendenhall in Week 17 against the Browns?" And Mike Tomlin responded by saying, "Absolutely not. To win in this league, you have to take risks." I agree with that, but at what cost? He may have
I agree
injured
with that. At
two
what
of
cost?
his
Yep.
major players in that game. They didn't even get what they were looking for, and that was the number 2 seed. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Ben Roethlisberger, you could tell he was hurt the whole game.
Yes.
He was not at 100%. There was no way. And as you said, Ronick, if they didn't play him in Week 17, how much better could he have
Mendenhall
been?
too. He tore
right,
his ACL.
Exactly. How much better could they have been?
Yeah, and the torn ACL is not something that's just going to go away from Mendenhall. It's going to take a long time. He might not even be good long term.
Yeah.
We don't even know now. So this could be something that can really affect the Steelers in the long run. On the other hand, congratulations to the Broncos. I was really surprised, and it was an entertaining football game. The best of the weekend, in my opinion. I think. It was the best football game of the weekend.
Yeah.
And, guys, we're going to move on to MLB now. We're talking about the Hall of Fame. Barry Larkin was the lone member to be selected into the Hall of Fame this weekend. Guys, well, Noah, what do you think about Barry Larkin in the Hall of Fame? Do you think he deserves it? What do you think?
Well, he had a fantastic career with the Reds. 16 All-Star selections, I believe, an MVP award.
Yes. I think,
played fantastic shortstop.
yeah, he batted .295 in his career. Congratulations to Barry Larkin. I think he deserves it more than anybody. I mean, he's been waiting on the ballot for quite some time. He definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Another notable mention is Bernie Williams is staying on the ballot with 9.6%.
9.6%. I understand that. I understand that completely.
Bernie Williams, I'm a favorite player of all time.
I'm a Bernie fan. I liked what he did with the Yankees, but I understand it. I mean, he wasn't a fantastic player. He was just a good, clutch guy who played in some good World Series teams.
I mean, he also had I think 10 All-Star appearances. So
10 All-Star. Yeah, he did play. He had a good career, a solid career, but you can compare his careers to, the other guys that aren't going to make it. There are lots of good players out there that won't make the playoffs, that play better than Bernie Williams. The Hall of Fame, not the playoffs. So, and it is under my understanding that I think we're going to get a caller in a couple minutes, but I don't know. So we're going to keep talking about Barry Larkin, guys. Noah, do you think that there was anybody else that got snubbed on this list? Jeff Bagwell was on the list. He didn't get in. He only got like 50% of the votes. Jack Morris is on it, 66%.
I think Bagwell should have.
I just want to throw it out there. The thing I respect most about Barry Larkin is he's one of those Craig Biggio-esque players. Played for one team in his entire career, and I love that in a player.
That's what Bagwell
did. Here's our caller.
We got a caller, yeah.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Hello?
I'm on the air?
Yes, you're on the air.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the Lions for a second and that terrible display that they showed.
I wouldn't call it terrible. They played some good football. I just think they were outmatched offensively by the Saints.
Missed opportunities on defense.
Yes, I wouldn't call it a terrible game, caller.
I think the Lions just weren't covering correctly on defense. They didn't cover the receivers that they needed to, and obviously the Saints defense covered who they needed to cover. I think the Lions just in the end it all fell apart. And I don't think they tried their hardest. I mean, of course, I'm proud of them for making it this far from their past seasons. But I mean, it was a terrible game, I think.
You touched on some good points. You did say that the Lions came a long way from the season. They did. They came from an 0-16 team to a potential playoff team. They played very well. And you said that they did blow some coverage on the Saints. That's true, but it's also understandable because there's been loads of other teams out there that have done the same thing this season. So I get it. I understand why that they did it. There's not really much they can do on this. You just hope that next year maybe they can do it and they can play better and they can get a better playoff opponent, well, a worse one, so they can maybe move farther in and maybe they can touch them on the defense. You're right. Good points.
Right. Also, I just saw this online a couple weeks ago, actually. It brought up an interesting point about the schedule that both the Lions and the Patriots had. Obviously, this for the Lions was kind of acceptable, I think, but neither the Patriots or the Lions beat a team this season that came out with a winning record.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I think that's perfectly fine for the Lions, considering how historically terrible they were. But the Patriots are generally a team in the AFC East that they all.
Jacob, it's true. Division. It's true. I looked it up yesterday.
Wait, is that true?
It's very true.
Are you serious?
It's true.
Wow. Honestly, I didn't know that, and if that was true, that is something. So
it's kind of ridiculous because the Patriots are pretty much a team that always wins their division. I'm pretty sure that every team in the AFC East kind of accepts at this point that their only shot at the playoffs is the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean. I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. It was a little factoid that I found.
That's a good fact. Well done finding that. But we're going to have to let you go now because that's about it for our show. We're going to leave it to Tyler to wrap things up.
All right, guys, that'll do it for More on Sports today. For Jacob Vernick, Ronick Nair, and Noah Gorstein, my name is Tyler Paley. We will see you back here on Friday. We're going to go to the Monmouth University versus Harvard University men's basketball game tonight. Hope to see everybody out there. We'll take some sound bites, play them on the show on Friday. Everybody have a great day.